with Donald Trump and his sort of view of our economy today. He's always bringing up China. And he, China's our enemy, and China's what got us here. They took our jobs, and we owe them money, and blah blah blah. How much of a factor are the countries that we are indebted to, like China and some of the other?
Yeah, so people raise this question all the time, and you're right. Donald Trump says, we owe China $1 trillion, or we owe Japan $1 trillion. They're killing us. They're killing us because we owe them all this money. I remember one night during the debates, during the primary, right? I'm sitting there in bed with my son, who was 9, I think, at the time, maybe 10. Anyway, we're watching the Republican primaries, and Donald Trump is on one of these rants where he's talking about how China's killing us and the Japanese are killing us. And he says, they're sending us all these cars, and what do we get? And my son looks at me and he goes, the cars? I said, yeah, that's right. We get the cars. So that's the part about trade. These countries have dollars because they make and ship us more stuff than we make and ship them. In other words, we run trade deficits with these countries. So we get the stuff and they get the dollars. And what that means is they basically have a checking account at the Federal Reserve as a result of their trade surpluses. So what they do is they take their checking account at the bank, our Federal Reserve, and they say, I don't really want to hold a checking account. I would prefer to hold a savings account. And so they take their money and they buy U.S. Treasuries. And that's part of the national debt. And that's what gets people anxious. And they say, China owns part of the national debt, or we owe Japan part of the national debt. Okay, this is true. But what happens as a result of them owning those treasuries? So the government in the United States pays China some dollars, and they get interest on the bonds that they hold, just like any other bondholder. And so they're accumulating a little bit of interest income. And what do? They turn around and roll it over into another U.S. Treasury. Meanwhile, all the stuff is coming our direction. We're getting real goods and services at a price, let's be honest, it's cheaper than if we produced it ourselves. So it does help the U.S. consumer's dollar go further in terms of purchasing power, because you can buy more because you have access to cheap imports. The trick, as you pointed out in the start of your question, is the jobs piece. If the manufacturing is taking place there instead of here, and we're allowing that to create unemployment domestically, that's where trade becomes a problem.